At 13, Courtney Hadwin stepped onto a brightly lit stage and silenced an entire crowd with her raw, electric voice. No one expected that a young girl from County Durham could captivate a full American theater in moments. Yet, as she poured her heart into every note, the world began to take notice. We relive her remarkable story, today from that life-altering performance to the tragedy that tested her indomitable spirit. Stay tuned till the end as we uncover every plot twist in Courtney Hadwin's story, from that early promise and heart-stopping audition to the tragedy that shadowed her dream, and how her unbreakable will got her through her darkest days. The audience saw a fearless girl on stage, but few knew the pain she had hidden behind that powerful voice before fame turned her world upside down. Who was Courtney Hadwin when the lights went out? Courtney Hadwin was born on May 6, 2004, in Hazelden, County Durham, England, to Paul and Anne-Marie Hadwin. Though her parents were busy with their respective work, they made it a point to pay attention to the budding interest their child had taken in music. From a very young age, Courtney was drawn to the soulful rhythms that her mother played around the house, filled with the voices of established artists. Those early sounds inspired her to hum along and tap her feet to every beat. By the time she turned 3, she would dance around the living room, hands in the air, whenever some music sounded, and her parents derived much joy from watching their little girl perform. At 8 years old, Courtney's school introduced her to formal singing lessons. Her music teacher immediately noticed her peculiar tone and the richness of her voice, putting her into the school choir. Weekly rehearsals in the school hall gave her more confidence and pride performing at assemblies. Her classmates soon called her Rocker Girl when they saw her sing and dance with so much energy. She loved to perform for an audience, never shying away from the spotlight. She was focused, never missed a music class, and she did some breathing exercises to strengthen her vocal control. Each morning, she rehearsed scales in front of her bedroom mirror and even made her own lyrics, proving her creativity was way beyond her age. When Courtney reached the age of 10, she assembled other kids in her neighborhood to create a small band called Durham Soul. The parents supported the group wholeheartedly, even helping to buy instruments like guitars and drums. Small crowds often gathered to hear them play, and word spread quickly about the young girl with the angelic yet powerful voice. A local journalist wrote a short feature, "A Young Girl Brings Soul to County Durham," which made the front page. Her parents beamed with pride reading it, and for Courtney, it confirmed that her voice mattered. She soon joined Shotton Hall Theater School, where her mother would take her every weekend for lessons. There, her vocal coach taught her phrasing and emotional control, helping her learn how to shape her voice to fit the mood of each song. What mattered most to her was evoking emotion with a sound. Her first big performance happened at a festival in Durham City and was watched by thousands. Nervous, she first stepped onto the bright stage lights, but soon found her rhythm. By the time she reached the last song, the crowd exploded in applause as the power of the performance hit them. People who never knew her name were clapping in amazement. As her reputation grew, she was asked to sing at more birthday parties and community events, where she learned how to relate to small audiences on a personal level. She often chose songs with lyrics that mirrored exactly how she felt, which made her performances highly heartfelt and relatable. By the time she was 12, Courtney's aspirations had grown beyond her hometown. She began saving every penny to help her parents pay for a ticket to America. Every night, she wrote down her dreams and goals, envisioned herself performing on bigger stages. Her natural talent made her stand out, and her family's unwavering support kept her motivated. Her mother always reminded her to be humble, work hard, and never lose sight of her purpose, advice that would guide her through the years ahead. With nothing but a suitcase and a dream, Courtney set her sights on a world beyond Hazelden. But one question lingered on: would America recognize her talent, or would she be lost in the crowd? That answer came in the summer of 2018, when 13-year-old Courtney Hadwin arrived in Omaha, Nebraska, with a small suitcase, her signature leather jacket, and unshakable determination. It was her first time in the United States, and though friends warned her about jet lag, all she could think about was her goal to earn a place on America's Got Talent. On the morning of her audition at the CenturyLink Center, Courtney was both nervous and excited. The holding area buzzed with aspiring performers rehearsing, while producers called out names. Clutching her fedora and audition form, she took a deep breath and followed a producer down a narrow corridor to the stage. Under the blinding lights, the judges, Simon Cowell, Heidi Klum, Howie Mandel, and Mel B, watched closely as she stepped into the center. Dressed in a black leather jacket, white top, and black jeans, her loose waves framed a face full of focus and determination. As the opening chords of Piece of My Heart started, Courtney began softly, her voice trembling like a whisper before suddenly blowing up with fierce energy. Each note was gritty, raw, and full of emotion. She stamped her foot to the beat, moving with the confidence of someone twice her age. Simon leaned forward, intrigued. Heidi's eyes widened. Howie covered his mouth in awe. Mel B tapped her fingers eagerly, anticipating more. When the final note rang out, the theater erupted in thunderous applause. The judges stood, cheering her on. Then came a defining moment. Howie Mandel slammed the golden buzzer and showered the stage in golden light as Courtney stood frozen in disbelief. Her eyes widened, and she looked toward her mom backstage, who was crying tears of pure joy. A producer handed Courtney a microphone, and in a trembling voice, she said, "I love to sing. It makes me feel free." The sincerity of those words, as simple as they were, reached into hearts worldwide. By that evening, her performance video went viral and received more than 10 million views on YouTube overnight. Major outlets like the New York Times and BBC called her the teenage reincarnation of Janis Joplin. Local newspapers hailed her as a girl who had taken America by storm. The next day, producers invited her in for a private audition filmed inside a glass-walled room. There, she performed an original song titled Heart and Soul, written by her vocal coach Laura. Her voice carried deep emotion through every lyric, even sans the grandeur of stage lights. Simon praised her decision to sing something original, telling her, "You're not imitating anyone, you're yourself." That moment was huge. The judges sent her straight through to the live shows, securing her position as one of the standout performers of the season. As she left the audition room, fellow contestants hugged her, realizing a true star was in their midst. Courtney Hadwin constantly said in her interviews how much she missed her family and friends back home. But she also mentioned that going on to the America's Got Talent stage made her feel at home. That night brought her an overwhelming number of messages from fans all over the world. People from as far as Japan and Brazil reached out on social media, thanking her for sharing her music and talent. One fan wrote, "Your voice makes me feel alive," and another said, "You remind me of my daughter." Those things brought Courtney to tears. She knew that her singing touched the hearts of people that she would likely never meet. Over the following weeks, her audition video went on to amass several millions of views. Popular talk shows reached out wanting her appearance. The Today Show invited her to perform live, another milestone in her fast-growing career. In the midst of the whirlwind attention, Courtney managed to fit in her education through online classes, with the help of her parents, to keep her on a steady routine. Despite all the excitement, she focused on her passion and not on fame. From a small-town choir in England to a standing ovation on one of America's biggest stages, her journey showed how greatly talented and courageous she was. That audition was the day the world discovered Courtney Hadwin. From then on, nothing would ever be the same. America's Got Talent had found its newest star, and Courtney finally took center stage. By the time the live show started, Courtney Hadwin was much more than a contestant. She was a headline across the world. Within hours of the broadcast of her audition online, people across the world fell in love with her electrifying energy. Social media exploded as users shared her video, tagging friends and family members. News outlets featured her story headlined, "Teen rock star from England steals a show." Her performance reached 10 million views on YouTube in less than a day. Overnight, this teenager from County Durham was thrust into the whirlpool of fame she had dreamed about but never really thought would happen to her. When she went to Los Angeles for the next phase of the competition, it was under a special chaperone arrangement so that her education could continue. Her tutor accompanied her and helped her to keep up with school assignments, even as she became busier and busier. Despite all the new responsibilities, Courtney managed to set aside time each morning to rehearse. She started each morning with exercises to warm up her voice before eating breakfast. This included stretching her chest and shoulders to build her breathing and control of her voice. Her coach listened intently to her technique, offering tips on timing and expression. With each passing day, Courtney's improvements came along nicely, with even her confidence and stage performance honed and perfected. Live show rehearsals were held on the official America's Got Talent soundstage. Under the bright overhead lights, cameras moved effortlessly along rails, capturing each and every moment. Courtney grew comfortable being around spotlights and fog machines, making sure nothing obstructed her voice. She'd rehearse the walk across the stage with her microphone stand, pausing to emphasize the drama at appropriate moments. Members of the production crew would often comment on her focus and maturity beyond such a young artist. When the week of the live show finally arrived, Courtney made a bold choice. She would perform Maybe by Janis Joplin. As the stage lights dimmed, glittering arches and deep red hues enveloped her. The crowd was silent, waiting for her to take her deep breath and start. The notes that came out were strong and emotional. At the middle of the song, the audience was already on their feet, clapping so hard and cheering so loudly that it filled the entire arena. The judges were smiling and nodding in approval, impressed with her command of the stage. When she finished, confetti cannons exploded above her, covering her in a rain of sparkling streamers as the cheering continued for several minutes. Her name was on the charts, blogs, and fan pages since that unforgettable night. In less than 24 hours, her live performance emerged as one of the most watched videos in the show's history. Invitations from big talk shows started pouring in. Her first stop was The Ellen DeGeneres Show. The very moment Ellen opened the door, she warmly embraced Courtney. The two laughed together as Ellen tried to sing a line in a hoarse imitation of Courtney's style. During their chat, Courtney mentioned that she misses her dog and often gets emotional when audiences applaud her. Soon after, Courtney appeared on The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon. Jimmy surprised her with a live drumbeat accompaniment while she sang a classic blues number. The crowd clapped along as Jimmy and his bandleader, Questlove, praised her vocal control and passion for music. They even joked about forming a band together, and Courtney laughed, saying maybe after she did her schoolwork. Each television appearance fostered the flames of her growing popularity. Record labels offered studio time, and merchandise companies called with ideas for shirts and hoodies. Yet through it all, Courtney remained steadfastly humble. She often repeated her mother's words of advice to sing for joy, not for fame. She called home after every interview or show to talk with her family and keep herself level. The messages from fans who said her music encouraged them made her even happier. Sometimes, she wrote little notes in her diary, writing things like, "Today, I sang for millions. Tomorrow, I will sing with my heart because I love it." From a simple audition clip to international sensation, Courtney Hadwin's rise was out of the ordinary. Behind that overnight success were hours of practice, unwavering focus, and the same dream she had held since her childhood. The dream to sing, move people, and share her heart through music.